In my opinion, they totally got this wrong. The Toro Super Recycler has been a top contender with Honda for decades. Let's see how this year's model stacks up. Hey guys and gals, welcome to Garage Gear. I'm JB, giving you the best tips and tricks to survive life in and out of the garage. So how did we arrive at this mower? Well, that's a bit of a backstory, and if you want to jump right to the unboxing, I'll have that timestamp right down here for you. I decided to buy a brand new mower. Don't worry, my old Honda isn't going anywhere. And I went back and forth on this for weeks. I was thinking, should I get a Toro Super Recycler with a 163cc engine? Should I get a Toro Super Recycler with a 190cc engine? Or should I get another Honda? All outstanding mowers, and I had plenty of conversations with many subscribers here on the channel that went pretty in depth on this. With many mowers creeping toward that $1,000 price point, nowadays you have to be smart with your money. So I decided to put it to a vote. I did a poll recently here on YouTube, and the 190cc Toro Super Recycler came out on top with a rather commanding lead. Now I've had some out there say that I hate Toro. Not true. Bro, you did a video on the Toro Time Master and you showed all its flaws. Yes, I did. But that doesn't mean I hate everything in their lineup. In fact, I did not one, but two tune-up videos on some older Toro Super Recyclers, and I couldn't stop talking about how great of machines they were. I'll have those videos linked down below in the description. I will highlight a brand's good products, but I will definitely call out issues along the way, all in an effort to help you make a smart purchase. So after the poll, here it is, the Toro Super Recycler with the 190cc engine. The model number is 21564, and its country of origin is Mexico. For the record, I bought this with my own money, so you know you're getting an authentic and honest review. See, I got it at the depot. I plan on doing a thorough review of this mower once I get some hours on it. And just so we're clear here, this video will primarily be an unboxing and setup along with some initial thoughts. I'll also be setting up a brand new playlist on this specific mower. Hey, do you know what time it is? It's time to unbox that item! Careful using the knife. There is a bag right there. There's a lot of mower in there. All right, Toro. So here's your lawnmower bag. We'll assemble this all together later. Looks like we got our handlebar knobs, a mystery box, and our manual. Let's get this cardboard here out of the way. Take this one too, and one on this side. They threw in a container of oil. Yeah. This thing looks really cool in here. I gotta get it out of the box. Take my knife here, we're gonna slice the corner. And then this side. We're gonna get this piece of cardboard out, and then from here, we're just gonna roll the mower out. Good. Let's get this bubble wrap out of the way. Same thing on this side. Let's get this bubble wrap out of the way. Random twist tie. My guess is the guy in the plant just got done eating a loaf of bread. Peel this engine cover off now. Boy, that's purty. Looks pretty sharp. All right, so next what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring this handlebar assembly up, and we are going to attach these handlebars. So I'm gonna slide one end on, and then the other, we're gonna push these tabs forward just like that, and you'll see that that kind of moves this pin here on the inside into the tube. Same thing here on this side. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna drop this handlebar assembly back, and these little blue levers that have the nub on the inside of the tube, they're gonna drop down and they're gonna pop in to this slot right here. Drop it down, and in they go. Same thing here on this side. And there we go. So now right off the bat, I can tell you that this personal pace handlebar right here is way too up high for me. I personally like it just a little bit lower as I'm pushing along my yard. So we're gonna lower this assembly right now. This bolt right here has a 1/2 inch nut on it. This right here is a shock absorber for the handlebar. And as we come around, you can see that we have the bolt and then another notch for it to fit in. So this whole handlebar assembly has 2 notches or 2 height settings. Kind of limited there if you ask me. So we got a 1/2 inch nut, let's loosen it up. Again, we're gonna open up our latches here and raise our handlebar assembly up. And from here, take off the rubber boot, insert it into the top slot, put on our rubber shock absorber again, and put your nut on, and just tighten it down. That's one. And same thing here on this side, loosen it up, slide off the shock absorber, insert the bolt into the top hole, put on your shock absorber, and spin on the nut. So now we bring it down, and it rests a bit lower. Lock those into place. All right, this feels a lot better now. Let's keep going here. So as we take a look at our manual here, we have our registration paper here on top, our quick setup guide, and then our Briggs & Stratton engine manual. In the rest of the bag, we have our button for our electric start, our 2 handlebar knobs, we'll pop these guys on, and this is the charger for our electric start. There we go. Let's twist these guys on here so that way the handlebar doesn't come flying off. And one here on the other side. Oh, Let's try that again. There we go. Well, that is snug. Now that the handlebar assembly is all taken care of, now what we're gonna do is install our handlebar clutch. Peel this guy off. Man, oh man, there we go. From here, I'm gonna tip this handlebar up. I'm gonna slide that right in. And then from here, just kind of pull on this a little bit and it goes on that side. Works good, and I can hear it engaging down at the engine. Next, I'm gonna take our electric start button. Let's put her in. In she goes. So now let's assemble the bag here, and here's a little trick that I've learned over the years from trying to get all these clips onto the metal bars of the frame of the bag. You may need a screwdriver for this, and what you can do is take some WD-40 and a paper towel and just give it a quick spray. And then what you can do is just put a little bit on the metal bar. This is gonna help glide these plastic sleeves on easier, and it'll actually prevent the metal from rusting a little bit. If these get wet, they usually rust up right away. Just hit one side at a time, and then I like to do these little ones first. I guess you could say I'm a glutton for punishment. Once you get a corner on, sometimes they just go from there. You're gonna wedge it in there and then just pop it right on, just like that. If you don't use the WD-40 as lube, it'll really be a pain sometimes to slide these on. On it goes. Slide it on. Don't stab your hand. She's on. You'll wanna play rough, huh? Fingers around it. There we go. Good. All right, let's pop this bag on. We're gonna lift the back door. Drop it in. Drop it down. Let's raise this baby up. Wow, this one's tough to see. Same thing on this one. Raise them up. Check this mower out. So here it is. Let's quickly go over this mower. So here's what I like about this mower. Right off the bat, this mower hits you like a Mike Tyson punch to the face. Edgy, blacked out, commercial grade, cast aluminum deck with a big fat powerful motor up on top. And it's scratched. The color scheme is absolutely spot on with this mower. Red and black. Definite power colors. One thing that Toro always seems to get right is their styling. Way to assert your dominance here in the mower market, Toro. Now the Vortex feature here in the front is designed to allow more airflow underneath the deck to improve suction. Now if all goes according to plan, this should lift the grass blades up, and as you pass over them with the mower, it should give you a cleaner cut. Pretty cool. Interesting concept. I can't wait to try it out, especially when the grass gets longer. Coming around to the side, we have smaller wheels here in the front and larger wheels here in the back. These make the mower easier to push and steer. Along with that comes the personal pace drive system. After using this for several years on the Toro Time Master, this has become a feature that I've grown to like. You can mow slow or fast depending on your walking speed. All right, now let's pop this bag off for a second. So this here is what makes a super recycler a super recycler. So what you got here is these kickers or wedges, and what they do is they drive the clippings back down into the blade as it's spinning to recut or recycle the clippings back into the lawn. This takes mulching to the next level. The blade accelerator right here also plays a major role with this. And just like on super recyclers from yesteryear, this same technology has been carried over through the decades, and you still see it on present day models. Decades later, and it's still here. The person or people that invented this technology back in the day absolutely got this right. I'm personally glad they kept this going all these years because this does such a great job mulching grass blades out. Huge fan of it. And to help the YouTube algorithm become a fan of this video, would you mind taking a super quick second to hit that like button down below? Thank you. I greatly appreciate it. Now, no mower is perfect, but let's talk about what grinds my gears with this Toro Super Recycler. First off, let's address the elephant in the room. This engine has been known to have its issues. I read every single negative review on this mower, and I watched every single video I could find before ordering this thing. These reviews aside, I still went ahead and ordered this thing because I have a place for Toro Super Recyclers in my heart. Plus, I'm up for any challenges that may come my way with this engine, and I want to provide you with the best information on this mower. Many of the reviews said that this engine has issues sputtering after it hits bumps in your lawn, or just has issues running smoothly. One way to resolve this issue that somebody mentioned was to make sure that the spark plug boot was pushed in all the way. Some say that the boot isn't installed all the way on. Let's go ahead and check this one by pushing it all the way in. It ain't going any further. It's on there. A very similar version of this engine used to be on the older version of the Toro Time Master. And on that version of the Toro Time Master, many said that it was severely underpowered. They later raised it up to 223 cc's. On the previous Time Master, that engine was spinning 2 blades. On this model, it's spinning 1. That should be plenty of power to get through some taller grass. Mark my words though, if this engine so much as revs funny, sputters, or sets off my spidey sense for any reason,
Spider sense, danger!
Toro and the entire world are gonna hear about it. Toro, you've officially been put on notice. Now let's have a look here at the personal pace. Hard lines all throughout this deck. Everything down here is edgy. Take a look. Hard corners here in the front. Hard lines here on the deck. Here on the engine. Boom, boom, boom. Back here, edgy. Even on the wheels, edgy. But then you look up here, you have this massive rainbow handlebar setup. To me, this should look more like this. Toro should have aimed to keep the same edginess going, not this St. Louis Arc design. In my opinion, they totally got this wrong. As odd as this is, it gives you more of a stroller feel than a mower feel. Now, because of this design, as I push down on this handlebar assembly here, this bar here remains stationary. And you can see that as I'm pushing it along, even at a slow speed, it's bumping into my waist. I can feel my belt bumping right into this bar. Now, I do my best to stay in shape and keep a tight waistline, but this bumping into my waist is not going to be comfortable as I'm pushing this mower up and down my yard. This is definitely something I'm gonna have to get used to. And if you are a heavier set person, which unfortunately 1/3 of our society nowadays is, that means that you're actually going to have to hold this out here like this to avoid your stomach from bumping into this. Toro definitely lost comfort points with this setup and this ugly handlebar. The next thing is this plastic flap here underneath. I have seen these split not once, but twice on the Toro Time Master after just 5 hours. These need to be made of rubber. We'll see how long that thing lasts. Now take a look at this. This whole deck should be as smooth as butter to prevent grass from sticking to it, right? Well, this is smooth right here. As I zoom in, I hope my camera picks this up, this is very rough. This is like sprinkled with little dots that'll definitely have grass blades sticking to it. Even my finger gets stuck here right on it. And then as we go over to this side, take a look at this giant like boulder right here. Grass is without a doubt gonna stick to this. I don't know, I might have to actually file this down a little bit. This is not good craftsmanship. Past models of super recyclers were not like this at all. And lastly, they got rid of the true side discharge and moved it to the back. From what I read, you take out this mulch plug and pop in the side discharge here underneath. Now, I also read somewhere that once you register your Toro Super Recycler, they will send you the side discharge. What? Why don't they just give it to me? I paid for it, didn't I? You gotta admit, that's pretty weird, but I'm gonna look into this because I want every piece of my purchase. Once I get some more details on this, I'll share it in an upcoming video. Regardless of these issues, I'm excited to own this mower. I have wanted a super recycler of my own for a while now, and I'm happy to be in the club. We got plenty more to do on this mower. For more cool garage gear content, click or tap the screen right here. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the garage.